Emily, I wanted to ask you about the title, Ellen's Air. For those of us that might not know what an air is, can you explain your title?
An air is something, it's a term that generally we find in folk music, referring just to a melody. And the idea of an air, it's a melody, it's a song, and in Ellen's Air, there is a song that runs throughout the book, and becomes significant to her, and she learns to sing it, and it becomes something that is very, very important to her, an expression of her discovery, and so yes, I find so many things I can relate to music in life, and the idea of life being a melody in itself, and that we're learning to sing a song, and that we're learning to listen to harmony and listen to rhythm, and learning to live in a certain rhythm and a way of life. And so for Ellen, the air is just an expression of her journey and her life, her song.
Fantastic. And can you, obviously music has been very important to you.
Yeah.
You studied music at Bangor, didn't you? And you
Yes.
you play. Can you tell me a little bit about your musical life, and can you tell me whether that's informed your use of language or the way you wrote the book, structured the book? How's it informed?
I think as I studying English literature for A-level and so on, it was a real revelation to me of how musical language is, and I've always been fascinated by the musicality of language and how different languages seem to carry a slightly different rhythm when they're then sung. Or sort of dictate a slightly different feel, and I've noticed it particularly in folk music. I've always been drawn to folk music. I think I've always been drawn to the sort of traditional types of people, the folk, traditional nationalities. And what I've noticed in folk music is how the style of a folk song or a folk melody often reflects the language of the people that it's come from, and I've just been fascinated by how language and music of different nationalities really relate. And the Welsh are a very, very musical people. It's known, Wales is known as a land of song. The Welsh are well known for their incredible musicality, it was Dylan Thomas his writing that really opened my eyes to the rhythm of language, because his writing is so rhythmic and it's very conscious, very intentional, but amazing as well. And I found it quite exciting that language can convey something through its rhythm, not just the words. And so I've always wanted to explore that, and I think that influences a lot of the way that I think and which words I might choose to use to write with. I'm often thinking about the rhythm and the sort of lyrical quality of the words themselves, and that definitely comes through, I suppose, just having a musical training, and also a sense of how music is structured. And music's very mathematical. I'm not mathematical at all, but music is very mathematical, and it all comes down to patterns, and yet it conveys so much emotion. What's fascinated me is how we can draw from the structures of what takes place in music to then use those sorts of structures in the way that we write.
That's fascinating. And often it's the spaces in between language and what's unsaid,
and the inflection,
and the inflections and so on that carry so much weight.
I also did public speaking again at school, and I was always given the awkward and the awkward words, because my teachers knew that I loved listening to the sound of different words, and also just taking the time to enjoy different words. So I just find words are amazing, and that they can carry so much, but they can also convey so much with so little. They're powerful, and I've always had a love for words.